Hello again, and please welcome to our third episode of Metashape Fundamentals for Drone Pilots. Earlier, in our previous lessons, we have learned about customization of the first three tabs in the Metashape Preferences panel. Well, let's continue in this video the process of exploring next tab in the Preferences panel. So, now we will start with customization of the Appearance tab. And if you would like to refresh your knowledges about customization of previous tabs, please feel free to check our early published lessons. Well, let's get started. Appearance tab connected to the Metashape's viewport segment, where we have our model viewport, ortho viewport, and photo viewport. Let's get back for a moment to the Metashape's main interface window. Okay, by default, when we open Metashape Pro application, we will see only model and ortho tabs in the central window. When we double click on any of the photos from our current dataset, we will see additional tab with the name of the file on the new tab in the viewport. This tab considered as a photo view tab. Now let's go back to the preferences menu. Well, let's open Appearance tab and start customizing. Left side of the Appearance tab gives us ability to switch between preferences dedicated to model view, ortho view, and photo view. Well, let's dig in and clarify meaning of the dedicated fields. We will start with Model View Customization. Model View tab has the biggest amount of fields for customization, and you don't need to change all parameters here. Fields in the Model View tab are combined in the 6 different groups. If we take a quick look at the fields in the Model View area, it is quite obvious that a lot of fields are connected to the color customization. Let me mention at this point that all colors in the Appearance tab are specified in hexadecimal color values. Any of hexadecimal colors are specified by using this pattern RR, GG, BB, where RR red value, GG green value, and BB blue value, plus value described by combination of numbers and letters between 00 and FF. But don't worry, you don't need to memorize any of those numbers. Inside the pop-up menu, we will find out the tool that will help us to convert RGB data to hexadecimal data for each color field. For example, my background color is 46, 46, 46, and color is displayed as gray, because all three components, red, green, blue, are set to the same value, 46. Top field calls background color. If for some reason you would like to change the background color, you can click on the button Select. We can use RGB slider, hexadecimal field, or eyedropper. Now click OK and apply. We will see result immediately without restarting Metashape. I would prefer to go back to my color by default. Let's move to another field that calls text color. This field allowed us to change colors of the text inside Model View area. If you want, please feel free to change it by yourself. The process is absolutely identical to what we have done in our previous field. Well, next would be Model Color. Short and simple explanation for this option would be this field in charge for the color of the new model only. Please pay attention, the keyword here is new. So, this option doesn't have any impact on already generated models. Now, for easy digestion, let me illustrate this for you. With already generated mesh model, we are trying to change model color to any random colors, and even after pressing Apply button, there is no changes in our model. So, as you can see, this option doesn't work for the already generated models. Well, in case if we need to change model color for the existing model, please follow me. First of all, let's close Preferences panel and go to the Workspace tab. We are moving down to our 3D model line, and by using right mouse button, click, we are now in a context menu. Over here, we're going to choose Change Color field, and as a result, we can apply new color. Well, let's get back to the Preferences panel again. Our next field is Variance Scale. The value of this field has a connection to the process of residual of the approximation of the function. In simple words, when we use option Tools, Optimize Camera Window, Estimate Tie Point Covariance, Metashape will calculate the covariance matrix for the result of aligning pictures process. The covariance matrix reflects the uncertainty of the transformation and can be used as an additional analytic tool. For the current class, we will skip customization of this field and will use default Metashape value. Exploration of this option could be a good subject for our advanced level class in the nearest future. Well, let's go back to our preferences panel and explore default view field. This field connected to our navigation experience inside 3D or model viewport window. As you can see now, we can choose over here our default view, perspective or orthographic. Well, if you are just starting within 3D software, now you may be asking what's the difference between these two modes. The concept behind it is pretty much universal for all 3D modeling applications. Okay, perspective mode is a realistic view of the 3D objects in the viewport, which takes into account how far away objects are from you and how it displays the object. The further away something is, the smaller it gets visually and less sharp. However, orthographic mode ignores all of that and flattens your world, so that no perspective is seen. Everything is angled perfectly. This is unrealistic view. At the same time, it helps significantly when we are inspecting our model and shapes. But do not worry much about this field, because at any moment while we're working with our model, we can switch between perspective and orthographic view by simply pressing button 5 on our keyboard. Well, for now we are ready to jump to our next field, which is default shape color. As we can guess from the name, when we change this color, it is affect color of any shapes that we are going to create on top of our model. We use shapes in the Metashape for a variety of purposes. When we will be creating planned mission for our drone shooting, shapes are useful to define safety zone and restricted zone. We will have a dedicated lesson for drone autonomy flight options later in this class. Next group of fields connected to the digital stereoscopic photography. The simplest way to do this type of project is side step or cha-cha stereo technique, and final result could be generated from the pair of images that have been taken even with one camera, which has been moved sideways to get stereoscopic shift. The benefit of stereoscopic photography, it's need one pair of images only and will give you kind of experience of the depth in the photography, but it could not provide 3D experience. I mean ability to see the object from different sides. Well, right now in our class Metashape Fundamentals for Drone Pilots, we will not go deep in this subject, but it could be covered in our advanced level classes. Well, let's move down to our next group of fields. Here we see very interesting and useful fields that are correspond to the grid. First field in the grid group is dedicated to color. I'm okay with white, and over here it's easy to manage color if we would like to change it. I will skip to go step by step with this process because it's absolutely identical to what we already did with color customization in previous groups. Next field called transparency. It is also speaks for itself very well. Over here we can change the transparency of the grid if we would like to. Now let's explore and customize more interesting and useful option, line count field. By using it we can change the amount of cells in each direction on the grid. This option becomes very useful for drone pilots who mainly shooting large objects as buildings, monuments or land, because the line count field works very well in conjunction with cell size field. Combination of those fields will give us some useful info. Let me demonstrate it for you. Right now to my line count field assigned value is 10. It means that grid has 10 small cells in each direction. We can check it now. Well, it's true, 10. So, but why do we need to care about the amount of cells on the grid? Right now it doesn't bring to us any valuable info, but if we are going back to our appearance tab and look at the cell size field, we can see that each small cell has a size of 5 meters. So with the grid 10 by 10 cells and each cell has 5 meters, we are dealing with the 50 square meters area. And if we don't need our model to be georeferenced, we can properly align model to the grid for easy calculations even without placing dedicated markers. So, last field in the grid group called plane. This field is responsible for the grid orientation. By default, all cells are located between x and y axis, but It can be changed according to our needs when choosing appropriate combination from the drop-down menu. Let's move down to another group of fields called region. Well, region is this cube around the model that can be resized, moved or rotated. All calculation of our model happened inside the region. So, to optimize time of model creation, it's good to properly resize region area. And for this process, I prefer to work in orthographic view. Just press 5 and from the resize region drop-down menu, choose appropriate option. Now, let's go back to the perspective view to check the result of our customization process. Well, everything seems correct. Okay. Let's go back to Preferences menu. Now, when we briefly check how region looks like, we can customize appearance of this element. Field color responsible for all edges except bottom part. So, by changing color in this field, we can change all parts of our element except bottom. And next field, base color, helps us change the color of the bottom region area. After pressing button Apply, we can enjoy new color scheme of the region element. Last field of the region group called Transparency. By moving slider, we're changing transparency of the whole region element at once, including bottom part as well. Okay, it's time to move to the next group of fields called Camera Track. Camera Track group let us customize appearance of our virtual cameras. So, in Metashape, we are able to create keyframe animation. We can accomplish this task by using Animation panel. When we will be talking about export option, we will cover usage of animation panel in details. Right now, just brief explanation. So, to be able to change camera track color, we need to build animation first. Let's close Preferences menu for a moment. If you don't see animation panel in your layout, go to View Animation. Now, let's create our simple animation just by changing view of our model and pressing Append button to each view, and Metashape will create smooth transition between all key points. So, key points and transition between them can have random colors according to our choice in the Preferences panel. Let's check it now. We choose color in the dedicated color field and we can change thickness according to our needs as well. Press Apply. Done. It's really simple and need just a small practice to master. Well, finally we're moving to the last group of fields. It calls Drawing Plane. Okay, what is it and how to add it to our model and what would be a benefit to use it? So, let's close Preferences panel for a moment and go to our model viewport. We need to make a right click on our model. Please pay attention. Click should be made on the model, not on the empty area. Now we can choose from the context menu Set Drawing Plane. As a result, Metashape activate for us kind of extra layer, and this extra layer was created in Metashape to let us place any shapes that need to be on the perfectly plane surface. This option become very useful for models with busy terrain or when we have geo-referenced model as this one. And drawing plane copying orientation of our model. It's very well noticeable when we're talking about geo-referenced model as this one. Well, let's go back to the Preferences menu and see our possibilities for drawing plane customization. So, as we can see, Drawing Plane group allows us to change color and transparency. I'm sure for now you can master it by yourself. And I will finish our lesson about model viewport customization at this point. Hope you got some useful info from this tutorial, and I will see you on the next lesson about ortho and photo viewports. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.